Then he goes on to say, any man who divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery, and vice versa. Again, harsh sounding words, clear black and white words. But what is he really doing? He is challenging the society of his day that said that men have it all and women have nothing. That men matter and women don't. He is saying to men, if you do this, there are consequences. You don't get off the hook. He says the same thing to women. He brings both of them into an equality that does not exist in the law of the day. So what he's doing is revolutionary, and he's trying to make things better if you see it in the context. Now, of course, today for us and our law and our society is very different, thankfully. We don't have those same kind of prescriptions. There is much greater equality in comparison to Jesus' day. And yet, the reality of divorce is still painful. The reality of divorce still shatters lives and hearts, breaks dreams, and you have to pick up the pieces again. We need to acknowledge as a faith community and as a church that sometimes relationships die. That sometimes love doesn't get you all the way through. And that is painful and it's hard, but it's true. Anybody who I've married here at this very place, I'm sure does not come here saying, well, we'll see how it goes for a while. They come with their dreams and their joys and their hopes. But all of us know that sometimes the dreams don't work out. Not only about marriage, about many other things as well. And yet, there is still in our day a certain stigma attached to it. And there is still in our day a social awareness that those who live at or below the poverty line, many of them are women, single-parent families, separated or divorced. Some things haven't quite changed. If you have experienced that or someone in your family has experienced that, how do you hear the gospel today? How do you hear Jesus today? If I was divorced, and knowing myself as I do, I would sit there and say, I wonder what Jesus thinks of me. I wonder what he thinks of me. Well, this is where the good news comes in. In the second reading, taken from the letter to the Hebrews, the last line of that says this. It says, Jesus is not ashamed to call us brothers and sisters. That is who we are with Christ. Brothers and sisters. That is our relationship. We are family with him who became human. And we are family with one another in faith. And nothing that happens to us changes that. Whether someone is in jail, whether someone is living on the streets, whether someone is an alcoholic, you name whatever circumstances kind of pushes people apart and away into the margins, and I include in that separation and divorce. You are still a brother and sister in Christ. He is still brother to you. You belong in the family of Christ, and you belong in the family of the church. Your place is not outside the doors. It's inside here. We don't often live that well. I have talked to many people who have struggled through separation and divorce, and then the church's response to that through the process of annulment. Some people say that process has really helped and healed them. Others say it has scarred them even more. And we as a church and a faith community need to apologize for that. You see, we're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, as we say. Jesus clearly sets out today the ideal of marriage, a holy sacrament. And we as a church have a responsibility to proclaim that and to protect it and ensure it and strengthen it. And yet we have an equal responsibility to hear the gospel call spoken time again when Jesus reaches out to people with mercy and compassion and understanding. To those who come and get married and see that dream die, the church's first response should be mercy and compassion and understanding. Say, come and be part of us again. Don't feel outside the circle. That is the response of the church. That should be the response of the church. It should be the response of all of us in families, in friendships. It is difficult and it is hard and it is awkward and uncomfortable and painful, and I'm not sure anything can prevent that from happening. But we can always respond as Christ responds, with understanding, with mercy and compassion. We are brothers and sisters to Christ and to one another, and nothing ever changes that. So my brothers and sisters, welcome. If there are those among you who do not feel welcome here, invite them back. If we can live the gospel call of holding up the ideal of marriage, but also doing it with mercy and understanding and compassion, knowing that sometimes we don't make the ideal happen, then we are living the gospel. We are doing what Jesus calls us to do. And on this particular issue of divorce, I don't see any other way than that path. May God bless you.